I'm going to talk to you guys tonight out of my own personal revelation and where I've kind of been at for the past couple weeks. The bride, the bridegroom, and first love. I'm going to be reading tonight out of Revelation chapter 2. If you have your Bibles and you want to turn there, I'm not going to read just yet. I want to start with a question. How many people have ever been in love? Plugged out love counts too. Do you remember when you first fell in love? What were you willing to do? When you first fell in love with your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever, what were you willing to do? What were you willing to give up? I was willing to give up sleep. Sleep is very important to me. But when me and my husband were dating, sleep wasn't as important because he worked third shift, and so I had to rearrange my sleep schedule in order to get to talk to him. And so I would go to bed late and I would wake up early just so I could talk to him because I loved him. And then, after dating a little while and being all in love, we got engaged. And in every picture, you saw the engagement ring because we were proud. I was proud. And every time you got a chance to introduce, this is my fiance. You couldn't talk to me without hearing that, yeah, my fiance is at home, and when my fiance gets off work, we're going to go get some supper because he's my fiance. We threw it in everything. When you go to McDonald's and order some fries, yes, and my fiance would like a hamburger. But you were constantly showing your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend off. You were constantly using whatever word you could think of to let people know that you were taken, this was your person, you were in love. You'd shout it from the rooftop. If you could have climbed up the water tower, you'd have wrote it on the water tower in big red letters. You'd have risked going to jail just so you could have it up there because you wanted everybody to know. And from that, nowadays, the way you know is the first thing we do is what? On social media, we change our status. We are no longer single. We are taken. Yes. And then when you get in a fight, you single again. And then when you make up, you taken. Then, after you date, and then after you get engaged, and all that happens, the minute you get engaged, if you're a woman, you start planning your wedding. It's the first thing on your mind. It's the last thing on your mind before you go to sleep. You love your fiance, but the wedding's important too. You calling the caterers, and you're calling the venues, and you're calling to find out how much wedding dresses cost. Are we going to do this on a budget? Is my mom and daddy going to help? Then you are going to pick out the perfect dress. It's got to fit you in all the right places, but still be modest. It's got to be the right color. It's got to be the right length. It's got to have the right train. You got to have the right veil. Then you got to find somebody to do your hair and makeup. And then you got to take pictures. And then you get to go pick out the tuxedo. The husband doesn't really get to do much because, it's all about the bride. You pick out the songs, you pick out the vows, you pick out the preacher, you pick out the church, you pick out everything. Everything is about that wedding. You love your fiance, but everything's about that day and how that day has got to be perfect. No matter what, it's got to be perfect. So, if we take what we know about a boyfriend and girlfriend, what we know about the fiance, the engagement ring, the bride, the wedding day, all these things, and we relate it back to him, where do we add? Where do we stand? If he is supposed to be our first love, and we know how crazy we were when we fell in love with our spouse or our boyfriend or whatever, do we have that same burning for him? Is he the first thing on our mind? Is he the last thing on our mind? Are we preparing for our wedding day? Everybody we meet, can we not wait to tell them, this is who I'm with. This is the lover of my soul. This is who makes my heart burn. Come here and let me introduce you to him. Are we there? Because we should be. If you call yourself a believer, you should be preparing for a wedding. He should be your first love. He should be the first thing on your mind. Now, it's easy for women because we know the wedding and we know all this stuff. And even if you're a girl, you dream about your wedding and all these things. Men, it's a little more difficult because it's hard to associate masculine with falling in love with a man. And it's kind of weird for you, I imagine. But I'm going to help you. Are we, as the church is considered the bride of Christ, are we worthy of the title bride? When you think about a bride, are you what he's going to be coming back for? Are you prepared? Are you ready for your wedding? Have you made all the arrangements? Have you got everything planned? You got your dress, you got your makeup, you got all your stuff. If you're a guy, did you make sure you got the right tux and you get it fitted and all these things? Not literally, but figuratively. Have you made the preparations? Have you looked at your wedding vows? Some of y'all are like, what wedding vows? That would be in Song of Solomon. Your wedding vows. Are you prepared, or are you like the foolish brides who ran out of oil? Is your oil filled, or is it running empty? Do your insides burn for him, or are you running on, gotta go to church because that's what I'm supposed to do, and if I don't go, they're going to talk about me, and I'll just go and do my hands and they'll leave me alone. Are you burning? Do you have a burning for him? Are you on fire for him? Does your face light up when you hear his name? Our bridegroom has prepared and paid his dowry. What was his dowry? His life. He gave it all for us. The creator of the universe humbled himself to the seed planted inside a woman The Creator who made us put on flesh. The Word that was with God in the beginning. Genesis, in the beginning. He was there. He came through a virgin for us. He was born in the lowest conditions. He was born not in a bed, not in a room, not in a house. He was born in a manger, in a stall, in a cattle stall, where there was poop and feces. It stunk. There were cows and sheep. And he was born in those conditions, the lowest possible you could think of, for us. And he walked among us, and we didn't recognize him. The people he came to save didn't know him. They called him a devil. And he lowered himself to washing our feet. He humbled himself to wash our feet. The people who mistreated him, the people who turned their back on him, they spit in his face, they slapped him, they hit him, they plucked his beard, they pulled his hair. They beat him till you couldn't even recognize him. He was unrecognizable as a human. And then they gave him the worst punishment you could give. They hung him on a cross. That was the worst death Romans could give to the worst of the worst. The worst sinner you could think of, a pedophile, that would have been their death. And we did that to our King, our Creator. But he loved us that much. He wanted us that much. The Creator of the universe came to you and said, will you love me? I love you. Will you love me back? Will you accept my gift, my offering to you? He offered to us. He offered to us. What did he offer us? He offered to come and live inside of us, to forgive us for all the stupid, dumb, nasty, horrible things that we do and did and think. All of the places we put ourselves. He came to us and said, let me come live inside of you. Let me clean all that stuff out. Let me love you. Let me show you what love is. Not your version of love, not superficial love, not conditional love. Let me show you what unconditional, overwhelming love is. So are we ready? When he returns and he looks you in your eyes, what is he going to say to you? Is he going to say, good job. You were a good servant. You did a great job. Or is he going to say, I came to you and I called you and I asked to come live inside of you and I gave you my spirit. I let you feel my presence and I gave you, what did you do with it? Did you reach the lost? Did you tell people about me? Did you tell people that you were coming to marry me? Did you tell people you were in love with me? Did you let them meet me? Or did you just attend church services and struggle behind closed doors because you didn't really give me a chance to come in. You had stuff you wanted to hold on to. I think when he comes back, there's going to be a lot of sad people. I think, especially this generation, the social media generation, my generation, we are so distracted by life. We're so distracted trying to keep up, trying to have nice things, trying to make sure all our bills are paid, trying to make sure we got retirement, working this job and that job, taking our kids to sporting events. Everything we can do to fill our life. And then we say, I'm too busy to do this tonight. God, please forgive me. I'm too busy to go do outreach right now. Lord, you know I don't feel good. You know my heart. You know I love you, Lord. I am too tired to go to church right now. I want to read you a prophecy that I found from a lady named Carol King. And this was written back in 2020. Distractions have drawn the hearts and focus of my people away from me. Rather than walking close with me, many are giving their attention to meaningless things while excluding me. They are occupied from the time they rise up in the morning until the time they sleep at night. I wait, and they do not come. They offer a prayer here and a prayer there. They read a scripture here and a scripture there, and worship a little here and a little there. But their hearts are far away from me. Many would rather watch a movie than spend time with me. They would rather check their social media than engage with me. They are more disciplined with their exercise routines and diets than they are interested in carving out time in their schedules for me. They prefer the mundane to the holy because their hearts are distracted. They say they know me, but where do their affections lie? Many who serve me in ministry have become distracted by their ministries and the assignment within. Assignments that I have not ordained, but have been created due to growth and expansion of their ministries as well as their personal vision. It is time to walk away from the things that distract and return to me. In this hour, I am addressing my people as I addressed the church at Ephesus. Turn to Revelation 2. 1 through 7. Write the following to the messenger of the congregation in Ephesus. For these are the words of the one who holds the 7 stars firmly in his right hand, who walks among the 7 golden lampstands. I know all that you've done for me. You have worked hard and persevered. I know that you don't tolerate evil. You have tested those who claim to be apostles and proved they are not, for they were impostors. I also know how you have bravely endured trials and persecutions because of my name, yet you have not become discouraged. But I have this against you. You have abandoned the passionate love you had for me at the beginning. Think about how far you have fallen. Repent and do the works of love you did at first. I will come to you and remove your lampstand from its place of influence if you do not repent. Although, to your credit, you despise the practices of the Nicolaitans, which I also despise, the one whose heart is open, let him listen carefully to what the Spirit is saying now to all the churches. Have you left your first love? Have you lost sight of my presence in your midst? Have you become distracted? I love you deeply, and I'm calling you close to my heart in this hour. For when you make me the center of all things in your life, you will know peace and fulfillment. It all comes from me. I am grooming you as my beautiful bride, but the bride makes herself ready. She is not engaged in the distractions of the world or the enticements of the flesh. My bride is smitten by my love and responds. My bride has one primary, undistracted affection, me. When she arises, I am on her mind, and she seeks me. Throughout her day, I am foremost in her thoughts, and at night when she lays her head to rest, I am her final meditation. My bride is always filled with fresh oil and does not neglect the important part of her life, me. What can worldly possessions offer you? Only fading pleasure. What can man's efforts produce? Only temporary satisfaction. What can money buy? Only things that rust and moth destroys and thieves break in and steal. Why do you focus on things that do not satisfy? Why are you distracted? The enemy has launched an assault of distraction upon my people in order to hinder them from coming to me. But in this hour, my Spirit will call my people back into divine order, keeping me as their central focus in all things. They will return to me in response to my love. A fresh and deepened revelation of my love will be granted them so that they will return. They will come. A company of believers will be raised up in this hour whose passion is completely mine. They will know me and desire nothing but me. They will love me because they understand and know through experience the love I have for them. They will seek me all the days without giving in to distraction, and I will fill them and bless them. Their love for me will cause them to focus without effort. There will also be many who will realize that their hearts are far from me, and they will return to their first love in fasting and prayer. They will cry out for grace to return, for they are dissatisfied, and I will answer them and grant them the desires of their heart. Once again, they will love me and serve me with undistracted focus. Ministries will emerge in this area to teach, mentor, and train my people to love me with all their hearts. I will be the focus of these ministries. Even though they will teach life skills, spiritual gifts, and Bible principles and be committed to the Great Commission, their main focus is me, Jesus. Their message will carry one theme, me, Jesus. Many of these ministries will be led by younger generation leaders who will only want me. They do not long for title, attention, possession, or promotion. They simply long for me. They will be humble before me and truly embrace the cross, taking it up daily as they follow me. Many will tell them, lighten up. You're too intense. You're too radical. People need more than just Jesus. Your life needs more than just Jesus. But they will follow me in fullness and focus, in purity of heart, and in outrageous love. For they know my love and have received my love. They will not be distracted. As a result of these Jesus-focused believers, I will emerge in the earth to be seen by the masses, for they will not simply present programs, teachings, and events to attract people. They will present me. I will be the focus, and they will hide themselves in me. Many leaders in this era will dismantle the very things in their ministry that bring distractions. I will lead them to simplify so their attention will not be absorbed by the mundane. The shackles of distraction will fall from them, and they will once again gaze upon me and seek my face. They will be renewed in their faith, and I will increase their effectiveness, for they will be led by my Spirit. They will return to prayer, worship, and the study of the Word, and will be free again to obey my leading and simple faith. This is how I obeyed my Father's leading when I walked on the earth. The very things that I saw my Father do, I did. The things I heard him say, I spoke. I walked in close relationship with him, obeying his voice and following his lead. I did not allow meaningless distractions to take my focus. Many will come to me in this era. Many will follow me. Many will serve me well, for I am their focus. Is he your first love? Is he the first thing on your mind when you wake up, or the last thing you think about before you sleep? Do you think about him throughout your day and sneak off to call him because you just have to hear his voice? Do you dream about him and your wedding day? When you see him and feel him touch you, do you melt? Do you burn with desire for him? Do you love him? Have you even met him? Do you know what he likes and what he doesn't? Do you know his favorite song? Do you know his favorite color? Do you know the color of his eyes? Do you know what he smells like? Are you in love with him? Are you ready for your wedding day? When you look back in the New Testament, Mary of Bethany gives us a picture of what bridal love looks like. She would sit at his feet and she would study everything he did. She would watch his every move. She watched how he would breathe in and breathe out. She watched the way his mouth moved when he talked. She watched his eyes. She watched how his pupils would dilate. She watched the hair, if the wind would blow. She would watch his hair move with the wind. She watched his hands, his neck, his ears, whatever she could look at, his feet. She sat in silence and just listened and watched him because she was in love with him. David, in the Old Testament, is a picture of bridal worship. David loved God. And despite everything David did wrong, he got one thing right. And it was enough. He went after the presence of God with everything he had. Everything within him cried out, I want more. I want him. I want his presence. Please don't take your presence from me. When you read the Psalms, you hear his heart. Please don't take your presence from me. Please come and be with me. Please. And when he brought in the Ark of the Covenant and finally got the presents, he danced with all his might. He danced with everything he had, to the point that he must have looked pretty foolish because his wife chastised him when he came in and told him he looked foolish because he was dancing. But he didn't care. He didn't care what other people thought.
That's right.
He wanted him. And his desire for him was way stronger than what other people thought of him. He didn't care. When you're a bride, you know your partner on a deeper level. We can all be in a room. We can all be talking to Sammy, and each one of you could call Sammy's name. But when I say Sammy, something different happens. When I say Sammy, he hears it. His kids can call his name. Y'all can call his name. But when his wife calls his name, something happens. Does he come when you call his name? Are you intimate with him? Does he know you? Do you spend a long time with him? I can call the president's name all day long, but he ain't gonna come because he don't know me. I can Google search and tell you what his favorite color is, what color his eyes are, what he likes to wear, what his favorite cologne, what he loves to eat. I can Google and find anything I want to about him. But I don't know him. I know of him. But Jesus is something different. I've been alone with him. I've smelled him. I've felt his touch. When I say his name, it means different than it did 2 years ago. You see, prior to May 29, 2019, I didn't know him like I do now. So when I said his name, he didn't always come. I didn't understand the power behind his name. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to attach my heart to the words that were coming out of my mouth. But now when I say his name, my heart jumps. It pounds. And I say his name and I can feel him on my face. And when I talk about him, my eyes get teary and my voice gets shaky. Saying his name does something to me now. There's a physical reaction that happens when I say his name now. Because I love him. I want him. I want more of him. Everything I get tonight, I'm going to want more tomorrow. It's not going to be enough. It's never going to be enough until I'm there in his presence and I can look at him and I can touch him and I can see him and I can hear him say my name. Not just feel it in my spirit, but I can hear his voice. In order for a marriage to work, it takes consistency. If I only spent time with Sammy on Tuesday nights when we came here, if I only spent time with Sammy out in public, our marriage would not last very long. If we didn't go home and close the door and get away from our kids and spend one-on-one time together talking, touching, holding hands, hugging. Our marriage wouldn't last very long. And when I call his name, it wouldn't mean the same to him. But because we spend time together, and because we sleep together, because we're married, because we're intimate, it means something when I call his name. I don't even have to say Sammy. I can say honey. I can say baby. I can say Samuel. That ain't even his name. That's just something I call him. But he answers to it, and he likes it. I want to challenge you. One of the guys I like to listen to talks about prayer and fasting and things like that, and paying your tithes. And there's different ways to pay tithes. Some people pay money, and then there's some people who they can't pay money, so they'll pay with food, or they'll pay with acts of service and things like that. And so he said that one of the things he started doing was he started tithing his time. And so if you were to give 10% of your day, it's 24 hours. So what would 10% of 24 hours be? 2 hours and 40 minutes. 24, move the decimal over 1, 2.4. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Do you spend 2 hours and 40 minutes with the Lord each day? That's just 10%. What would your relationship be like if you spent 2 hours and 40 minutes with the Lord each day? What would it look like? What would your health look like? What would your mind look like? What would your finances start looking like if you started carving out 10% of your day for Him? What if you looked at your schedule and wrote down what you do from the time you get up in the morning till the time you go to bed at night, and looked at how much time you spend doing everything else, and then how much time you actually give Him? Because I guarantee you there's a lot of people, I'm not saying it's any of y'all, it could be Facebook land, there's a lot of people who feel as though they go get on the Bible app and they're going to do devotions, and they're going to go to the devotions and they're going to read a couple of little scriptures and then somebody else's interpretation of what it all means, and that is enough time. 15 minutes. If you only spent 15 minutes with your boyfriend or girlfriend, would that be enough time? If you only spent 15 minutes with your husband or wife? If you only spent 15 minutes with your kids? We're going to stand accountable. He is coming back. And a lot of people think He's coming back to rapture a church, and He might. I don't know. But what if He's coming back for a bride? What if He's coming back for a wedding ceremony? What if He's coming back and we're going to stay here because what we were supposed to do is His kingdom come here on earth as it is in heaven, and He's not coming to rapture us back. He's coming for a bridal ceremony. He's coming for a wedding. He's coming for a wedding feast. Are we going? I'm sorry, Lord. I just bought a new house and it was a little out of our price range, and I really have to work overtime, and you understand. I'm sorry, Lord, I just bought a new car, and, I feel like it was your favor that got me that car. It was God's favor that I got that new car, even though I can't afford it. So I'm having to work some extra jobs to pay for it. And I've been there. We're there right now. We bit off way more than we could chew. And our income doesn't quite cover the outcome. What is it worth to you? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up to see His presence, to have His presence, to have that weight when you call His name, He comes? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to give up, lay down, put aside to focus on Him? What are you willing to do to see this city saved? What are you willing to do to make sure that the people you have to look at day in and day out don't end up going to hell and screaming, "Akoli, why didn't you tell me about him?" Because when you're in hell, you remember everything. And every person we pass is going to heaven or hell. There's no in between. Heaven, hell. And every person we pass that we don't open our mouth and tell about what we found, the good thing, our number one, our first love, our fiance, every person that we pass that we don't, we are giving them permission to go right into hell. Because we were busy. Because we didn't feel like it. We were embarrassed. We didn't really know what to say. Well, I was waiting on a word of knowledge. Those were all my excuses, by the way. I want to do something. I want you to bow your head and close your eyes. And I want you to think. I want you to think about your day today. I want you to think about how much time you spent with Him. And then I want you to think about how much time you spent on your phone, how much time you spent at your job, how much time you spent on school, how much time you spent with your friends, how much time you spent doing everything else you wanted to do or felt like you needed to do, versus how much time you actually gave Him. When He comes back, is He going to look at you and say, "There you are. I know you"? Or is He going to look at you and say, "I don't know you. You know my name, and yeah, you laid hands on people using my name, and you even cast out devils using my name, but I don't know you"? If you know that you need to do better, if you know what? I may not know Him like I need to. I want you to come and I want you to pray. Number one, I want you to ask for forgiveness. And then number two, I want you to ask Him to make His presence known to you. And I want you to tell Him, give you a desire, give you a burning desire to read His Word, give you a burning desire to spend more time with Him, give you a burning desire to see the things that you need to cut off, the distractions, the things that you need to put away. Because He will. He'll convict you if you ask. I promise.